Are you still here? Is everyone still here? Oh, excuse me.
The apartheid system are from. They live in Israel proper. Where do you think the government who decrees, yeah, we're going to do these things in the Gaza Strip and East Jerusalem is from? Israel proper. They themselves literally believe that the West Bank is part.
The dual stream makes me do vertical live. Look at. So this is what my live looks fuck off, on YouTube. Because I was on Twitch before, so fuck. I don't go live on YouTube ever.
Part of Israel. It's why they call it Judea and Samaria. It's a religiously motivated, fanatical dream that they deserve all of historical Palestine, and they are administering apartheid there. So for all intents and purposes, this is part of Israel proper. You can't just dismiss it and say, well, I like it there. It is, as I say, like saying you liked South Africa whilst it was an apartheid state because they did most of the bad things on the Bantustans. Every single year, there is a Death to Arabs march in Jerusalem. Tens of thousands of Israelis, including government officials, by the way, congregate in the streets to march through the Arab section, chanting Death to Arabs, may your village burn, smashing up Palestinian shops and attacking Palestinian shop owners. And that to you is a shining example of coexistence where you want to take your kids. I am sorry, Ethan. The vast majority of Israelis support the genocide in the Gaza Strip. The vast majority of Israelis support Israel's plan to expel 2 million Palestinians. You cannot reconcile and pretend, yeah, all the bad things just happen in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. No, Ethan, this is what Israel proper looks like.
Again, and this is what I'm saying.
There's a secret chat.
Like
what
Israel
the fuck?
Proper, which there's 2 million Palestinians living there.
What the fuck?
In Israel with full rights. People just lie about the conditions there. They say that.
Who is that? Sorry, this is I finally found the YouTube chat. I'm having a hard time. Thank you for oh, it's another Uncle Outrage fan. You goddamn sons of guns.
Like Israel or Palestinians are second-class
citizens
in
fans.
Israel, and or
you
that
go
like
to universities. You go to universities. There are so many Muslim students. Hospitals, Muslim doctors.
Hey,
it's like it's not what people portray
judges,
as.
Governments.
They are in the government.
But even then, this claim by Ethan and Healer that Israel proper is not some kind of apartheid state because, you know, they lived beside Arabs, there are Arabs in the government, is so funny. And I really just want to talk about this Arabs in the government thing because this is something Zionists always do. They always go, well, there's Arabs in the government, but they never actually know what these Arabs in government are saying because in 2018, Israel passed the nation-state law, and this is one of the reasons that you could never call Israel a shining example of coexistence, an inspiring example of coexistence, as Ethan puts it, because this law said that settlement of Palestinian land was a national value, that only Jewish people were allowed to exercise self-determination, and also Is
that you? That's Nils. That's Nils, dog.
Never make it on my own. But who's to say I've never got far anyways? It keeps me.
You need to take some fucking singing lessons.
That shit makes me sick. That shit makes me sick. That shit makes me sick. Shit that makes me sick. That makes me sick. Shit that makes me sick.
Yo. $60 version, hell yeah. Oh my god, this sounds...
Elections.
Oh, but it's someone else reacting to it.
relegated Arabic to a language of special status, but no longer an official language.
Yeah.
And the reason that I bring up Arab members of
Why
these
don't you 60 on my dollar until it's
Israeli Knesset is because Ayman Odeh, the leader of the Arab opposition party, literally referred to this as a law which relegates Palestinians to being second-class citizens. So how dare you sit there and use this as some kind of example of, yeah, actually there's brilliant coexistence because they have politicians, when these people are literally criticizing it as a Jewish supremacist nation. You are so ridiculous. And this is what I mean when you can't avow that you've ever done anything wrong, that you have to sit there and pretend that it's, you know, minimal things, that it's only a couple of things. No, Ethan, it is a long pattern of spreading Israeli talking points to justify Israel's crimes against the Palestinian people. And on this topic of Jim Crow policies in Israel, here's a former American politician, Dov Zakheim, talking about how Israel's finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, in 2023 tried to implement laws which he did successfully that were very similar to Jim
We'll clown on some right-wingers after this.
Crow era that targeted Palestinians, cut funding for their neighborhoods, which are already underfunded in Israel, by the way. And yet you just sit here and act as if it's only mega lefties that say this. Again, this guy worked for the US government. And then there are so many other laws within Israel proper that clearly just discriminate against Palestinians.
This is just like so unbelievably educational.
On the basis of their race.
So unbelievably educational.
For example, there are family unification laws which are only applied to Palestinians. So if a Palestinian who lives in Israel proper marries a Palestinian who lives in the Gaza Strip or West Bank, Israel literally has a law since 2003 which has banned over and over again those families from reuniting inside Israel proper and often inside even the occupied territories. And the reason Israel does this is so they can expel Palestinians without having to do it, because if you really want to be with your partner, what are you going to do? You'll leave the country and Israel will never allow you to come back. And then you also have the very different ways in which Palestinians are surveilled in comparison to Israelis. Because when it comes to Palestinians, they can get arrested for social media posts showing solidarity with the people of Gaza. They could be arrested for, you know, supporting Hamas. They could be thrown in jail for years, tortured, without trial, and so many other things. But when it comes to Israelis, well, you can appear on television and violate the UN Convention on Genocide Prevention, calling for all Palestinians to be wiped out, calling for them to be expelled, and that's just fine. You know, you won't be arrested as you should be under the UN Convention. No, you might be given a new job, you might be promoted. Maybe Netanyahu will let you go carry out the genocide. And so do you not see that Palestinians cannot express dissent, whereas Israelis can? They're affected by different laws, and yet you still sit there and call it a shining example of coexistence. Ethan, just because you lived there and lived alongside Palestinians, that did not mean that they lived equally. They cannot express full solidarity with the suffering Palestinians in the West Bank, Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, or any of these places, whereas Israelis can call for genocide. You are so ridiculous. As the 2018 nation-state law enshrines, these people have to say that, yeah, settlement of our land in the West Bank, well, that's just our national value, you know. We can't exercise self-determination here. Back. That's only for the Jewish people, because it's this wonderful space of coexistence, you know. Now, as another means to avoid any questions about Ethan's actual ideology, he tried to make it seem as if all of the criticism against him was anti-Semitic. He claimed that Hassan had a swastika sword in his house, which him and his other crew members were endorsing, even though it was just a sword from a character in an anime. And he also tried to claim that iDubbbz was being anti-Semitic and engaging in Holocaust denial by talking about Israel's cultural appropriation of Palestinian food to try and make the Zionist project seem more Middle Eastern.
Bother me, tell me awful things. I know you love it when you do it. Helps me get through this without you.
Also doing, like, once again, like almost a form of Holocaust denialism, which is basically
his videos are so pertinent and so explicitly about the genocide and Israel and Gaza that he does I think the best coverage of this, because like I said, like I was saying before, the drama side of things is kind of silly, like, oh, fucking goofy internet guy, but because he's a prominent voice that is spitting pro-Israel sentiment under the guise of being pro-Palestine, but not actually, I think it's important to rebuke this fucker.
Diaspora apologia, basically saying that hummus is not Jewish food.
Oh.
He says there's no Arab distributors.
I'm here.
I think that's Holocaust denial.
No, but no, I'm correcting myself because I think it's close. When you deny like the Jewish the way that all 900,000 Jews were displaced.
Yeah, from other countries.
Rainbow flavored waste. I'm robbing a boba. I'm robbing a boba today.
In the Middle East, I get that.
Denying that is, in my opinion, a form of like Holocaust.
But the Holocaust is a specific thing that happened in Europe. Like you can just.
It's a way.
I think you need to
it's
frame it
historic.
differently.
It's anti-Semitic historical revisionism. How about that?
Okay.
Yes.
What?
Now, this is absolutely ridiculous, and
What?
Ethan loves to talk about the expulsion, the flight of Jewish people from the Middle Eastern countries. I mean, he never contextualizes it with, well, a lot of this was to do with the founding of the State of Israel, the degrading relationships between the two, and also the fact that why did Mizrahi Jewish people only start coming after the Second World War? Why weren't they welcomed really at any point before that? Because the only point they had been, some Yemeni Jewish people were brought on in very early. They were treated with horrific racism, even with spiritualist left-wing Zionists like Ahad Ham, Asher Ginsburg. You can literally read what he thought about Yemeni Jewish people here. Or you could read this quote from David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister in the 1960s, when he said the Moroccan Jew took a lot from the Moroccan...
Who's cheating on who? That's the closest you get to a weed emoji? Shmoji? I'm dead. He's cheating on me. Oh my god. I can't believe someone's cheating in my audience. We do not take well to disloyalty around these parts, now do we? No, we do not. We will end you.
Arab.
Just kidding.
The culture of Morocco I would not like to have here, and I don't see what contribution present Persians have to make. We do not want Israelis to become Arabs. We are in duty bound to fight against the spirit of the Levant, which corrupts individuals and societies and preserve the authentic Jewish values as they crystallized in the diaspora. And this fits perfectly
crazy.
with what the Zionist
No, I
project
know you
did.
would
They
never.
only brought Mizrahi people over after the Holocaust because Europe was closed off to
I know
Jewish
you would
immigration.
never.
And when they welcomed them
not
over,
what it looks
they
like.
treated them horribly. There are so many examples of this, like the Yemeni baby affair, where Yemeni children were stolen
It's not what it looks like, Beans,
from Jewish parents.
anymore. I got therapy for that. I got conversion therapy, but in like in the opposite of gay.
And then the parents were told that the children had died, even though they had not died, and they'd actually been given to Ashkenazi couples. And the people who fought against this, like Uzi Meshulam, a Yemeni rabbi, was treated like an evil conspiracy theorist, even though he was proved right. And Israel apologized only a few years ago. And I'd also like to highlight this quote from a senior Israeli politician, which discusses Israel's motivation in evacuating Jewish people from the Arab countries. And it says that the need was not the need to rescue them, but the need to create a Hebrew majority in Eretz
It's 3 hours long.
Yisrael. And there you have it. Ethan
I got converted to be gayer. See you with another dude. Oh no, 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 no. I seen you with another dude. I seen you with another dude. I seen you with another dude, and I I don't know what to do.
And you speak about this as if it was some uniform expulsion that came out of nowhere, that it is somehow akin to the Holocaust, that it is revision of Jewish history to talk about, yeah, Israel didn't actually want this culture and has only recently embraced it as a means to try and demonstrate that it is not a settler colonial nation, because people like you think that colonizers can only be white. But in reality, the expulsion and the existence of Mizrahi people within Israel is very complex. You could actually read people like Ella Shohat, herself an Iraqi Jewish person, talking about this, or you could just carry on listening to Israeli state propaganda. And this would be the key point, Ethan. Of course, Mizrahi Jewish people participated in Arab culture. They lived and existed.
Oh, who was here for karaoke the other day? Was it to play women's golf? Oh, yeah, who's here? There's a lot of karaoke. The one where I did Nightmare Before Karaoke, Eric. Nightmare Before Karaoke. Who was here for this? We got to get some more people in here, and then I'll do this. No, that was good.
Existed within that environment for hundreds of years, but Israel appropriates their culture and uses it as a means to make themselves seem more Middle Eastern, even though it is a settler colonial project that, as its early leaders put it, was a means to extend Europe into the Middle East. It wasn't just Herzl. Max Nordau said exactly the same things. So when you sit there and go, well, it's anti-Semitic Holocaust revisionism to talk about this, it's just utterly ridiculous. And also, Ethan justified supporting Israel by claiming that 80% of Israeli Jews had nowhere else to go. I mean, what that means, I don't know. But it's important to note here that many people who actually work in the One Democratic State campaign, yes, not just saying one democratic state, people who actually are working towards this, discuss how this future will include all Israelis and Palestinians. The right of return for Palestinians will be implemented, but not with mass expulsion of Jewish people who actually live in historic Palestine. However, at the same time, I would like to read a quote from the Israeli historian Tom Segev. Segev recently wrote, "At the age of 80, I'm starting to think that maybe..."
You dig women graves?
It wasn't right from the outset. The whole Zionist thing. Most Israelis are refugees or the offspring of refugees. Not Zionists, but refugees. So you'll say, well, that justifies Zionism because this was a land they were able to come to. But we need to remember that the majority of the Holocaust survivors did not come to live in Israel, and that the majority of Jews in the world are not coming to Israel. They can, but they don't want to live in this country. So Zionism is not such a great success story. It also doesn't provide security to Jews. It's safer for Jews to live
impressive
outside Israel. And Ethan, you prove this in your video. You say that you've had to cancel your trip to Israel because you don't want your children to be...
No one talks about this. This blew my fucking mind.
...exposed.
He literally went on a bunch of rants about, like, oh, Hassan said he wants to go to Gaza. He wants to go to Gaza, but it's too unsafe. It's too unsafe. And then, like, he's like, we're going to Israel to show how not racist Israel is. And then he kind of offhand remarks, he's like, no, we can't go there. It's too unsafe.
To potentially rocket sirens or something else happening inside Israel.
A peace
we put the
deal or something to go into effect.
Yeah, we put the visit off while the war is
because we want to come with the kids.
It's not a war, you cunt. It's not a war.
Want them to have to deal with sirens and
yeah,
seeing all that shit and hearing all that shit, you know.
But that's just not going to happen to them inside America. You and your children are incredibly safe. You are not going to be subjected to violence because although America is a settler colony, it doesn't have an open frontier of settlement right now. And as many of the most eminent historians who discuss the concept of the frontier have noted, any time frontiers expand, it provokes violence. And so as long as Israel keeps on expanding into Palestinian land, it is always going to be met with violence. It is never going to be this safe and wonderful project as you try and make out. It is a complete and utter failure, and your desire to cling to the state of Israel and act as if it is wonderful, a beacon of coexistence, is frankly ridiculous. It is a state that was begun with the expulsion of 750,000 people, the instant removal, lightning quick, of 750,000 people. Israeli settlers literally moved into Palestinian homes. They took pots, pans, photo albums, everything that you could possibly imagine from people's homes. So Ethan, anyone who is genuinely committed to Palestinian liberation is of course against anti-Semitism. None of us support the extermination of Jewish people on the basis of their race. This is the whole basis of the rejection of Zionism. We reject the Zionist project because it is an ethno-supremacist project which has justified the extermination of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians and the expulsion and destruction of the lives of millions more. Israel now heads towards expelling 2 million Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. It is increasingly looking like it will probably end up doing something similar in the West Bank and East Jerusalem in the near future, and perhaps one day it will try and do it inside Israel proper as well. So why you cling to this state is beyond me. You cannot sit there and say, well, most Jews are Zionists and that makes it okay. The statistic that 90% of Jewish people are Zionists isn't even correct. But if it were, it wouldn't change anything. I'm sure that many white people supported apartheid. I'm sure that many white people didn't see a problem with colonialism. But we do now. We have grown and we have changed. And I see Zionism for what it is. It was always a movement premised on the fact that the Palestinian people, who made up the vast majority of the inhabitants of that land, did not have a right because they were further from the proximity to Europeans. I mean, as I noted in a previous video, it's what Arthur Balfour said. He said that he didn't care what the 700,000 Palestinians wanted, even though they were the majority. What mattered to him was what Jewish people who did not live in that land wanted. And this is why I have to question what point there is in supporting Israel. There will always be Jewish people who exist there. Ethan tries to dismiss the idea that Israel is a state which says that it represents all Jewish people. He says, I don't think Israel have ever said that. Netanyahu categorically has said that at certain points. He said it whilst he was in Paris in 2015. He said that he was the representative of all Jewish people there. Israel refers to itself as a Jewish state. They talk about policies of Judaizing, where they move Jewish people into the land. They say that Jewish settlement is a national value. They welcome every single Jewish person from all across the world, even if they don't have links to the land of Palestine. You yourself, Ethan, could go there and settle there, even though your ancestors didn't live there, because it is a state for Jewish people. So this idea that Israel somehow has never said that it is a Jewish state, when it uses the Star of David, a Jewish symbol, as its flag, as it has over and over again talked about how it has revitalized the Jewish people, is farcical. I mean, I don't even understand why you are doing this at this point, Ethan. Why are you saying these things? Ultimately, it is not the
I don't think Ethan even knows why he's saying these things.
States do not have innate rights to exist. They are creations of the human mind. There have always been Jewish people living in historic Palestine.
I don't think he even knows.
However, this amount was small.
I don't think he has any clue what's even going on. I don't think he knows a single thing. I don't think anyone knows anything about anything. How could you? How could you know anything? It's insanely hard to makes no sense. Huh. Ooh. Few deny, as for what I do, I'm the best. For the talents are renowned far and wide. When it comes to surprises in the moonlit night, I excel without ever even trying. With the slightest little effort of my ghost-like charms, I've seen grown men give out a shriek. With the wave of my hand and a well-placed moan, I've swept the very bravest off the field. Yet year after year, it's the same routine, and I've grown so tired of the sound of their screams, and I, Jack, the Pumpkin King, have grown so tired of the same old thing. But somewhere deep inside of these bones, an emptiness began to grow. There's something out there far from my home, a longing that I've never known. The fright and a demon of light, and I'll scare you right out of your pants. To a guy in Kentucky, I am Mr. Unlucky, and I'm known throughout England and France. Since I am dead, I can take off my head to recite Shakespearean quotations. No animal or man can scream like I can to fury of my recitations. But who would ever understand the Pumpkin King and the skeleton grin would tire of his crown if they only understood. He'd give it all up if he only could. There's an empty place in my bones that calls for something unknown, and frame and praise come year after year. Does nothing for these empty tears. Rainbow flavored waste. I can't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't believe that you didn't put me in your fucking essay. I didn't believe that you didn't put me in your goddamn essay. I can't fucking believe that you didn't put me in your essay. I can't fucking believe you didn't put me in your fucking essay. Let's count on some let's count on this dipshit. There's no way this isn't gonna be the funniest, dumbest thing ever.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night.
Jesus Christ.
No. I'm too vain. That's exactly
No.
right. I look back and I think, oh, those headphones are pushing up my hair. Isn't that sad? That's
You
so
shave your
sad.
head.
That's sad.
You never look back if you do.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the greatest thing in the world. It's freedom.
I have a
Jesus
big
Christ.
dent here from when a meteorite landed on me when I was a kid.
Yeah, none of that's real. He made
funny
that
story.
up just
I know.
now. He's
I've
a
got plenty
liar.
of cuts on my head. I got them all over the place.
Well, you're looking pretty unscarred. And
Oh, the back of my head, I have one when I was a little kid. It's pretty big. That one of these cranes that lifts up sewer pipes, those big concrete pipes, banged me off the back of the head. Yeah,
that's not
ran
good.
into
right
it?
out, went to the hospital.
Were you a different person before that experience?
I don't know. I need to have talked to my mom. I was always a little
This
wild.
could be of autobiographical significance.
Oh, there's definitely
Ew,
a lot of head trauma.
how would you
Were
even
you
know
knocked
that?
out?
That's
Personality.
fucking
No,
weird.
No, I
Okay.
stayed
Well,
conscious, but I got
That's
No.
the big predictor.
I got gray. Everything
Oh.
got, I grayed out that I came back to. I didn't completely go unconscious. So Jamie went golfing this weekend with O.J. Simpson's golf clubs.
Uh-oh.
Not with OJ. He's
you
not
should
here.
be
but-
exercised. that would be the next step.
Jamie bought O.J. Simpson's golf clubs after
That's
This
kinda
is like
funny.
a childhood dream?
No, they were just for sale. I saw them for sale. I said, why not? They came in. I wanted some big grips.
Yeah,
They weren't that
a
expensive.
couple of my friends. What did Shane get? Shane got a bunch of
I
stuff,
talked
right?
him into buying some stuff. Yeah.
He got like scarves and
Ties. He bought a bunch of ties.
Oh my god,
I
start
think
talking
scarves
about
too.
something
Okay. He
stupid.
bought a trophy
a trophy.
and a Bill Clinton signed photo.
And he spent thousands of dollars.
What was this? This some sort of O.J. Simpson auction?
Yeah, it was like an estate sale. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
You know, he's dead now, so you can get his stuff.
Right,
Wait,
for
O.J.
nothing.
Simpson died?
Pennies on the dollar.
Well, I mean, only people like Jamie and Shane are dumb enough to buy it. It's like for a goof. It's one of those things like you're either getting it for a goof or you're a very dark person.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't want to own it even for a goof. Like if I found OJ played pool, I wouldn't want.
I just want to fuck with the fabric of society a little bit here with my most popular podcast and convince people that fascism is kind of fine because I don't push back on anyone talking about anything.
His cue.
Was there cues? No, there wasn't. There was a weird notebook that Robert Kardashian had like handwritten stuff to him.
Blood
I was
splatters
like,
on it.
whoa, that might be interesting. But
It's taking a vicious turn, Joe, already.
Yeah, that's a dark story.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you only know the surface.
This is an anti-Joe Rogan podcast. Wait, is this not a podcast? Am I not podcasting? I got the mic.
Of it.
Well, it's dark in both ways. It's also dark in planted evidence. You know, there was blood at the scene of the crime that had.
Is he about to fucking say that OJ was innocent? Planted innocent? These fucking conspiracy fucks can't find anything that's fucking just cut and dry. Everything's got to be fucking, oh no, there's a little bit that's not quite fucking 100%. We got to look into every minutia.
Preservative in it, allegedly, supposedly, according to Robert Kardashian, and according to, I believe, the forensic scientists when they analyzed it. It matched OJ's blood, but they had to draw blood from OJ in order to determine whether or not it was his blood that was at.
Yeah, that's how, what the fuck? And then they just, this is OJ's blood. We don't know his blood, but we just know it's his blood by looking at it. We could tell. That's definitely a athlete's blood. We don't have to check OJ. We don't have to pull any of your blood out of your body. We just know. We can tell.
At the scene of the crime, and some of the blood found at the scene of the crime had that preservative in it that they use. They were sloppy in the 90s, you know.
Compared to now.
Well, there was no DNA evidence back then. You know, cops were there. There's always going to be a certain percentage of cops that just want to convict
He couldn't. Wait. Oh,
somebody regardless of the evidence, and if they're
convict somebody. Yeah, he almost made a good point. Does he bleed OJ?
you know, in their mind, they believe someone's.
Yeah, we knew it was yours, OJ. All the blood. Well, here I can just show you. It kind of looked like this. What the fuck?
Guilty. They'll do whatever they can, including planting evidence, I guess.
He wanted to say that cops will do whatever they can to convict black people. They want to go out of their way to discriminate racially. But he backtracked. He got kind of lost in that sentence there. But that's what he wanted to say. Yeah, cops will do anything to convict a black person.
At least that's allegedly. Not that I don't think he did it. I definitely think he did it. But I also think the cops planted evidence, which is probably at least partially why he got off. You know? I think the big reason why he got off was Rodney King, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Have you gone into the whole George Floyd story at all? Have you ever like looked at?
This was a day ago. What are you talking? They're going to start actually looking at George Floyd? They're going to start be like, oh, okay, maybe we were all wrong about that. Yeah, that was brutal.
Like what they actually did to him it's a combination of things. Like what the cop did was horrible, but also he was dying.
Mm-hmm. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? I don't give a shit what disease someone has. You can't be like, oh yeah, he had diabetes. So me sitting on his neck for 10 minutes, that's what killed him. I didn't do nothing. He had diabetes.
You know, like most people.
It doesn't fucking matter. You could have a fucking neck injury. You could have like, oh, I can't get kneeled on my neck for 10 minutes in a row or I'll die disease. That's still, you killed them.
People probably, like if they did that to you, you probably would have lived.
No. Fuck you, loser. Fuck you, Joe Rogan, you goddamn loser piece of shit. Fucking disgusting to say that shit out loud. Oh my fucking God, I'm losing my mind. I thought I wouldn't have much to say. I thought, oh, let's watch a Joe Rogan podcast. Fucking 4 minutes in, he's doing goddamn rewriting of history of George Floyd, a man murdered by the police, blatantly, unfucking questionably murdered by the cops. And he's like, oh yeah, but if yeah, maybe his fucking fat goddamn neck, he might survive because like all he does is work out 3 neck muscles all day.
You know, that guy had an
That was my
large heart.
understanding
He
of it,
was
yeah.
fucked up, but that cop did lean on his neck, which is always interesting to see people try to minimize that, you know?
Are you fucking you just he just minimized it. He just minimized it. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like, yeah, if that cop nailed it on like a normal, healthy person, like they'd probably survive. But he did kneel on his neck, and it's crazy how people try to minimize that.
I'm always like, you gotta be able to just say what it is.
Well, that situation can be ugly and
Fuck. That's the. Oh my God. Oh my. Am I nuts? That's fucking insane.
multitude of ways.
Yes.
Right.
Why
That's
is he
when things
making that
get-
face?
Well, that's when it's very difficult to pick your moral pathway forward. All your choices are not good.
Yes.
Right.
Which is oftentimes the case when it comes to conflicts, right?
Yeah.
I said words like moral pathways. I gotta get my Jordan Peterson down. Oh, I said something like moral pathways. You gotta be careful when you do things like that. Kneeling on a black man's neck might be fine, but if he dies, the news might get a hold of it, and we might have to start caring about minorities, and that's not what we want.
Yes.
Conflicts are very complicated, and people want it to be binary. They want there to be a good guy and a bad guy.
That's pretty fucking binary. Period. I don't want there to be binaries. I set my penis on moral pathways. It still always curves to the left.
And that's oftentimes not really
Yeah.
the case.
Well, it's hard to organize yourself for combat unless you are quite convinced that you're the good guy. So there's a default to that dichotomy that's a necessary part of, well, even standing your own ground, right? Because otherwise you get demoralized. And so I suppose people, well, when they're threatened, they default to a simple narrative, and because that's, you can't defend yourself in some ways. It's very hard to defend yourself, especially physically or militarily, without a pretty cut and dried narrative.
Well, especially like
obviously the cop was a good guy. The cop was white.
Like military operatives, you know, you have to have a very
Jesus Christ.
Your life and the people that you're with, their life depends on you not having any confusion about whether or not
right.
it's morally correct to be doing what you're doing. That's why they like to break it down to kill bad dudes. You know, kill bad dudes.
Right.
Real simple. Let's go. They tell us what to do, we do it. Which is what you want to stay alive. You want your teammates to stay alive. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, well, you never know when doubt will cause a fraction of a second difference in reaction time.
Oh yeah. That's always the thing with.
So, some doubt should have. Like maybe I should get my knee off this guy I'm murdering's neck for a second. That wasn't actually a violent criminal. Wasn't violent or resisting.
Physical altercations with people.
It wasn't a physical altercation at all.
Too.
Yeah, he was on handcuffs on the ground.
You know, oftentimes people get sucked into these things where they're not sure whether to act or not act, and that's when they get in trouble.
Right.
You know.
What?
Right. That's probably true in life. You don't want to oversimplify things too, but once you've made a decision, well, that's when it's necessary to put doubts behind.
I don't know whether or not to have this 9th Xanax. I've had 8. Is having one more gonna cloud my moral judgment or not?
Because otherwise you just act in half measures.
Yeah, and oftentimes you have to have done the wrong thing before, like failed to act or hesitated to act, and it cost you. And then you have to learn that lesson. It's very difficult to like know that without experiencing mistakes. You know, you have to have failed to act and then realize, oh, I should have done something there.
Yeah, well, I think that's partly too one of the things that I often faced in my clinical practice and with the students that I mentored was this confusion about acting. I don't know what to do, so what should I do? Well, nothing. I'll wait around until I figure out what to do. It's like, no, you should put together a bad plan and you should implement it, because even if you fail in the implementation, you'll gather information and then you can rectify the plan.
All right, fine.
And so staying in that malaise until you know what to do makes you get older and more miserable, and you gather no information along the way.
Oof. Speaking from experience, this old gritty bastard.
Bad plan is a good idea.
That's why I buy these suits. If I ever feel like I'm lying in malaise, I go out and I buy a new ugly suit.
Idea. Best, any plan is better than none. That's a good rule of thumb. And a bad plan can be incrementally improved.
Yeah.
Right? With experience.
Right. He who hesitates is lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really difficult.
No. Ew.
For young
Who said
people.
that?
I think more so today than ever.
That's some fascist shit. Fascist shit. He who hesitates is lost?
At any time in history, because the distractions are so many and they're so engrossing. You know, if you get out of high school, you don't know what to do, and then you start playing video games and you're on social media, a day can slip by like that.
Yeah.
A day becomes a week, becomes a month, becomes a year, and before you know it, you're 30.
Yeah, right.
And you
That's
haven't
for
done
sure.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really common. That's really.
What do you mean done shit? No one does anything. Fucking, there's like a few hundred people that do. What do you haven't done anything, Joe Rogan. You fucking convinced a bunch of people a bunch of horrible things. Like, do you think that's good? Do you think you've had a positive impact on the planet? I guess maybe if you believe these fucking things you spout out. Like, you've convinced how many people not to get vaccinated that ended up dying? Like, how many directly related to your words? How much blood have you spilt, you fucking maniac?
Common today, and I don't think we can ignore those factors, the factors of just engrossing distractions.
Yeah, well, in the algorithm,
I think the pressure to like do something, like, oh, you have to do something, is more detrimental to people's mental health than just fucking hanging out and like being like, no, it's okay. It's okay to not do anything. It's okay to not think your existence is more than your existence. Like, you have to do something that's contributing to this what we call society? Like why would anyone want to contribute to this society unless you're morally bankrupt? I don't want to contribute to this shit, like, other than breaking the system down, which I don't really know how to do, because, like, what the fuck? You can exist. Existing is fine.
Them's optimized for short-term attention. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's a weird thing, eh? Because you could imagine that you would want a machine that offers you what you want, right? Because you want ads that are targeted to you, because you want to see a bunch of ads that aren't relevant to you now and then, because...
What? No, I do not want a machine that has ads targeted at me. That shit freaks everyone out. Nobody wants that. Everyone's constantly talking about how much that freaks them out. Is he joking?
Maybe you'll learn something. And content, well, why not have a machine shovel the same sort of things that you are interested in at you?
Yes.
That's a kind of curation. The problem comes, and we haven't figured this out at all technically, and probably not psychologically, the problem comes in time frame, right? Because there's a big difference between what you might be interested in if you were diligently striving towards a long-term goal that required conscientiousness, and what's going to attract your attention right now, this moment.
Right.
And the thing about the algorithms is that they maximize for short-term attention. And so basically they're actually optimizing for hedonism.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-AI. AI is a really good tool. I don't believe in intellectual property rights. I'm a commie. AI is a good tool. AI under capitalism is used to displace workers, to make the rich cast aside, to eliminate labor jobs. And it somehow started with the arts. But under a communist structure of the economy, AI is a beautiful thing. It displaces labor. That frees up a lot more people's free time. And there's a lot less work we have to do together to progress society. But under capitalism, it just eliminates jobs. So now these fucking 9,000 people that control the world, control all the money, don't have to hire this many more people because a computer can do their job. You know what I mean?
And then you might say, well, so what? Because you're getting what you want. Well, the problem with short-term impulsive hedonism is it doesn't...
Short-term impulsive hedonism. I have to pee. To pee! Oh, I don't need the headphones anymore.
Play out well over any reasonable time span.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why you have to mature, which is painful and annoying, but absolutely necessary and much better than the alternative. The alternative is exactly what that's Peter Pan, right?
Yeah.
30-year-old, I still haven't grown up, and
Yeah.
I'm a little past my shelf life now, too.
What?
I think people are afraid of losing fun. They think that when you grow up, you lose fun.
What?
But it's silly. It's not true. You can grow up and still
What is
have
happening
fun.
here?
You know, you just have to. You have to have discipline.
You've 18.7 thousand channel points? What the fuck? I gotta give you, like, I don't have any rewards for that shit. What the fuck? Oh, I gotta put the thing off. That's crazy. What the fuck?
Discipline and prioritize your time. You know, like,
Well, that's why Christ says to people that they have to become as little children.
Religion. He brought religion into it.
Not stay. Right? You have to rediscover that.
rediscover the joy of it. Yeah, but
well,
also
and kids are good for that too, aren't they? Because they
Sure.
teach you that again. You look at the world through eyes of memory by the time you're an adult. So the world loses its freshness. That's part of the world loses its freshness because you see your memories instead of the world.
Right.
And then kids come along and you think, oh yeah, that's really actually quite interesting. And they're so compelled by everything because their perceptions are so fresh that they share that with you, and that can help reawaken that spirit of childhood play, let's say. I've been thinking a lot about play in the last year or so.
Ew.
Well,
Ew. For some reason, the thought of him playing grosses me out so much.
spent a lot of time trying to take apart the causes of like truly pathological degeneration, right? On the sadistic side, on the criminal side, on the totalitarian side. Very curious about tyranny. And I
That's why he
it was very difficult.
fully backs Trump and Pierre Poilievre. Just trying to break it apart so I can effectively sell it.
For me to conceptualize the opposite of that as cleanly as I could characterize its presence. Like, what's the opposite of tyranny? It's not
Collectivization. It's communism.
freedom, by the way. It's certainly not anarchic freedom. It's not hedonistic freedom.
benevolence.
I think it's play.
Play.
I think it's play.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
that makes sense.
Well, the developmental psychologist Jean Piaget, one of the things he pointed out was that play, so let's say play is the foundation of micro-community,
Playing the
right?
same-
When you're a little kid, you play
He kicked the benzo addiction. He's on the slot machines.
a game with another kid. And then if that works well, you inhabit a little dyadic community.
Anarchonism, and communism. The end goals of both those are pretty goddamn similar. Classless, moneyless, stateless societies. But the means to get there are different.
You're both in it together. And then if it really works, you replicate that across time, and that gives you a friend. But play is it's very interesting psychologically and psychobiologically because it has to be entered in voluntarily. You can't force someone to play. And it's also motivationally fragile. So mammals have a play circuit, and it can be disrupted by
Oh my God. Okay, I gotta go to bed. I love you all so much. Good night. Free Palestine.